How does the average person go from nothing to starting over 75 businesses?
Being broke kind of forces you to find solutions that others miss. It's kind of like a superpower. The businesses I'm running today are worth about $25 million.
Wow.
I sell perfume vending machines, tree trimming services, and AI software. And honestly, nothing's off the table.
Watch Chris reveal the exact framework to spot your next $1 million opportunity. It's got a nod, guys, okay? In case you're thinking, where's Paul's muscle? Discover how to start any business with zero experience and $0.
I run a tree trimming business and don't even own a chainsaw.
Did you always expect to be where you are today?
Not even close.
And unlock the blueprint to getting your first 100 customers.
I had over 4,000 interested buyers before I even talked to the manufacturer.
Over 75 businesses later, what's your secret, Chris, to coming up with so many incredible, profitable ideas? All right, Chris, thanks for letting us be here with you. For those that don't know you, give our audience an idea of who you are, what you do.
I'm Chris Koerner. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've started 75 businesses over the last 15 years, and it's what I love to do.
What type of businesses are you in? Give us an overview, and how much do they bring in combined?
Anything from healthcare, software, home services, you name it.
What else? What are the 3 businesses that you primarily focus on right now? I know the 75 has been over what period of time that you started on and off?
15 years.
15, wow. And today, what's your main focus?
I focus on my real estate business, which is RV parks, and then e-commerce business, which we sell Texas flavored snacks all over the world. And then on my software business, which is a piece of software that helps skilled nursing facilities save money.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to dive into one of those. Today, we'll probably specifically focus on the tree trimming business. Let's go check out your office and see where it all happens.
Sounds good.
Beautiful home, Chris.
Thank you.
This is your office, I'm guessing?
This is it. Yep.
What's it like working from home? Did you ever want to get out, or was this the purpose and plan?
This is nice. All my kids are in school.
Okay.
So it's nice because I can see them when they leave, see them when they come home, but I don't have to commute.
That's amazing. I mean, why else do we build businesses but to buy time back?
Exactly.
Spend time with family. Let me ask you about your entrepreneurial journey. What kind of pushed you in that direction? Do you come from an entrepreneurial background? Talk to us about your story a little bit.
No, I just didn't have any money for stuff as a kid. And that was frustrating to me. And my parents gave me a lot of autonomy as a child. And so I would just go out and do random schemes like sell golf balls to make some money to buy a bike. When I was in high school, like as a teenager, I just worked odd jobs. I would mow lawns at times and waited tables, bus tables, delivered pizzas, anything I could just to pay the bills.
Cool. How much time a week or a day do you spend here?
In the office?
Yeah.
50 hours, maybe.
Wow. What's your first business? Give us the story. Any highlights, interesting things that you learned, how it started, etc.
My first real business was called Phone Restore. And it started when I was a sophomore or junior in college at the University of Alabama. And the iPhone had just come out and they were breaking. And I had read this article about these LSU students that had opened an iPhone repair store, and they were doing really, really well. And right around the same time, I had a classmate give me his broken iPhone. I didn't even know what a smartphone was, but it seemed like an interesting opportunity. So around the same time, I saw a flyer at the university that said, "I'll fix your iPhone for $60." And so I went to this kid's dorm room. He fixed this iPhone that I got for free. And the whole time I was just peppering him with questions like, "Where'd you get the screen? Like, how did you do this? Where'd you learn this?" And then I left there thinking, this is my next business.
Gotcha. And this is what helped buy this house, or maybe that's the next business? Or
that was the next one. I mean, I grew that to 4 locations. We sold it 2 years in. And the day after selling it, I started another business called LCD Cycle, where we would buy back those broken iPhone screens from repair shops, like the ones I just ran. And then we would sell them to China. They would remanufacture them, ship them back. And then we would sell them again as remanufactured units.
Wow.
And so that business grew to $10 million in sales in its first 3 years and paid for this house.
Over 75 businesses later, what's your secret, Chris, to coming up with so many incredible, profitable ideas?
You've got to start by being curious. I'm the type of guy where if I walk in a restaurant, I'll kind of count the tables, count the chairs, look at the menu, think, oh, these guys might make $3,000 a day. Okay, interesting. That's just how my brain works. So I think a lot of people's brains work that way as well. So if you're there, then you already have a head start. But speaking more naturally, I like looking at everything opportunistically. And one kind of exercise I do is I'll have a friend or a family member just point out something in the room. How could you make that a business idea? And it kind of forces me to think on the fly and turn any inanimate object into a business. It's a good way of getting your brain to think along those lines. That way, when you're in the wild, not trying to do that, it will happen more naturally.
Cool. Sitting in this room, let me put you on the spot. Let's come up with a business idea with what we just see. Let's say this red truck. I mean, this is kind of training your muscle
Sure.
The idea muscle.
Yeah, so I actually painted this with my daughter. We were on a date the other day.
Yeah, see?
Yeah,
That's
and
a
we
cute
went to
truck.
this retail store that's like a pottery concept, and you can paint your own pottery, and then you leave it there, and they bake it, and you come back and pick it up.
Okay.
And so if I were to generate a business idea from this, it would be very interesting if while we were painting this, they had like a camera with a tripod pointing down on this and just getting a time-lapse video of me making this. And then at checkout, they could say, hey, would you like to buy that? We could give you a before and after picture, or we can give you a time-lapse video so you can share it on social media or whatever. It's an extra $10. Now, it's not a business idea yet. I'll get to that. But I thought this would be interesting because it'd be pure profit. It'd be no-brainer. You could share the content on your social media page. The consumer could share it on theirs. It would naturally grow your business and it'd be a win-win. But now how could that be a standalone business if you didn't already own a pottery studio, which most people don't? You could offer that as a service. There's thousands of pottery studios. You could go to them and say, hey, we'll provide you with the cameras, the tripods, the software, the system, everything. All you got to do is hit play. You will integrate it into your point of sale system. You upsell it. And for everyone you upsell, we'll take 20% for providing all the hardware, all the equipment, and it's going to grow your business in addition. So any good idea could be a good business idea.
That's pretty awesome. Guys, we will talk more about specific details on how to validate an idea. How do we know if it's a good idea to pursue or not later on in the video? So keep on watching. And take a second, like and subscribe. We really pride ourselves in bringing on incredible entrepreneurs like Chris. So do that right now if you can. Thank you. All right, being an entrepreneur can be stressful, I can imagine. So what are some fun things that you do maybe around the house to kind of let off some steam?
Yeah, I love mowing the lawn. That's where I get my quiet time. And I love playing pickleball. We painted some lines on our driveway out front, but we're actually about to build out a pickleball court in a shop we have out back.
Oh, no way. Do you mind if we check it out?
Yeah, let's do it.
No, I'm excited. Let's do it. I was thinking it was a completed pickleball, but what's the plan? What's going on here?
Yeah, it'll be done in probably a month or so.
Okay.
But pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America, has been for 10 years. And there's been a few pickleball clubs open up and they're all full. They charge $140 a month. They have about 13 courts and you can't even get a court because they're so full. And so the idea here is to clear out that, add ducting to the AC right there, clean the floor, paint lines, and launch what I'm calling Secret Pickleball. And it's going to be like a private pickleball club.
Very cool.
That's going to be $100 a month.
So walk me through the numbers then.
Yeah.
What does math look like for doing that?
Yep.
As I love the fact that you're thinking about every business opportunity and we're standing in one.
Well, I want one for myself, and so I might as well monetize it, right? And then I can write it off. But there's about 200,000 people that live within 10 minutes of here, and 5% of Americans play pickleball weekly. So that's 10,000 people within 10 minutes that might be a customer. That would enable everyone to play once or twice a week, and if it were open 24/7. So at 150 members, $100 a month, that's $15,000 a month. I don't need employees. I'd have a key card access, cameras, vending machines, a cleaner to come in, some insurance costs, and
Beautiful.
we would net profit about $12,000 a month.
Beauty of entrepreneurship when you see opportunities and monetize.
Yeah.
At this point, you've proven yourself over and over again, and I want to touch on the fear of failure. A lot of our viewers mention that's the reason that's stopping them from taking action. What's your advice to them?
Well, there's only one way to ensure failure, and that's to never launch, to never do anything, right? That's a failure. In general, people are much more likely to regret things that they never did as opposed to regretting actions that they took. Jeff Bezos calls it his regret minimization framework. When he launched Amazon, he was a hedge fund trader, which is the highest paid position in the world. He was doing great. And he dropped that for Amazon because he didn't want to ever regret not at least trying this Amazon idea he always had, right? So there've been businesses that I've started just to check a box, just because I was so curious about it. I had to know if it would work or not. And a lot of times it doesn't work. But if you have your backup plan in place, if you've mitigated your risk enough, then it's not like you go broke forever and you're homeless for the rest of your life. There's always plan B, C, D, and E.
What's the wildest business idea that ended up being profitable?
I had a theory in 2018 that I could predict what crypto prices would do. And it was a very simple math equation. I would take all of the hype around a certain coin, and I measured the hype by how many mentions it was getting on Twitter, Reddit, Facebook. And then I would divide it against the total value of the coin. And if it had a high market cap, a high value, but low hype, then I thought it would go down in value. And if it had a low market cap, wasn't a very popular coin, but a lot of people were talking about it, I thought it would go up in value. So I developed this thesis and then I started trading against it and it worked. And I was blown away. I thought I had develop this crystal ball where I could see the future. And I wanted to sell this information. I wanted the world to know about it, but I needed John McAfee's attention because he was like the preeminent crypto influencer at the
that time. Yeah. Okay. And how did you get through to him? Just
well,
in a nutshell.
I started trying to guess his email address.
No way.
Yeah, because he's very private. His email wasn't public. And I tried John at McAfee.com, JM, John McAfee, and they kept bouncing back until it didn't. I said, John, I know how to predict crypto prices. I want to show you how my software works. I want to pitch you in person. What do you think? He wouldn't respond. So I kept following up. And I knew he was opening my emails. And finally he said, I don't believe you. He responded and he said, even if God himself told me that this worked, I wouldn't believe him. And so I kept responding, following up. No, it does. Here's why it works. Let me show you in person. And finally he said, okay, come to my house in Lexington, Tennessee. Be there at 1:23 p.m. and I'll let you present it to me. So I did. I drove to Tennessee and I pitched it to him. That was a crazy period of my life. Long story short, I gave him a quarter of the business. He promoted me every week on Twitter. We grew a community together. We had 70,000 people join. We launched our own cryptocurrency. It had a $30-40 million market cap, and we made 6 figures of net profit over the course of a year or so.
Amazing. So walking here, I noticed a big pile of wood. Let's go check it out because I believe that ties into some of the other businesses that you're involved in as well.
Yeah,
right?
let's do it.
Okay. All right, blitz time with Chris. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's the most you've made in a single day?
Oh, 150,000?
Wow. What's the weirdest business idea you've seriously considered but never launched?
A treasure hunt business where you hide a treasure somewhere in a municipality and you give hints on where it is, and then you sell ads to local businesses after generating the attention part.
Ooh, okay, I like that. If you had to close down all your businesses and only keep one, which one would be and why?
Probably be my RV parks because it's recession resistant.
For sure. What's the fastest you've gone from idea to sale and how?
So I posted about my Tesla on Twitter. It went massively viral, got 10 million views, and I put my Tesla referral link in the comments. And I sold 10 Teslas through that link. And
what did you say about your Tesla? That made it sound
I just said an unbiased review of like the good and bad things of driving a Tesla. And you make $500 in Tesla credits for every one that you help sell. So I made $5,000 in these Tesla credits that I couldn't cash out for anything. This was all within the span of an hour. And I went to Facebook Marketplace and I saw that Cybertrucks for kids, this little RC Cybertruck, they were selling for $2,500 on Facebook Marketplace, but on the Tesla website, they were $1,500. And so I used my credits to buy 2 of them. And then I immediately posted an ad to sell them and I put in the ad, they're not here yet, that you can put a deposit down now. So by the end of the hour, I had money.
True businessman. All right, what's the best part about being a serial entrepreneur?
I love what I do.
What's the worst part of being a serial entrepreneur?
There's no consistency of income.
Okay. What's a business or an industry you want to explore but haven't yet?
Restaurants.
What's the worst business advice you've ever heard of?
Follow your passion.
And last one, if you weren't an entrepreneur, what would you be doing instead?
Maybe a psychiatrist or a park ranger.
Quite the difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a wrap. All right. Most people will hear Chris's story and focus on his strength as an entrepreneur. But the secret to his success is actually flexibility. Ooh, that one got me. Whether he's selling AI software online, trimming trees, or peddling perfume, Chris is proof that if you want to grow your business fast, you need the financial flexibility to make moves. And that's why having a partner like Revenued is a game changer. The Revenued Flex line lets you access working capital on demand with no origination, maintenance, or draw fees. Instead of judging you on your personal credit, Revenued looks at your actual business revenue so that you have a higher chance of qualifying, even if your credit isn't perfect. Revenued can provide instant access to funding up to $500,000, either straight to your bank account or through the Revenued business card, so you can be flexible when opportunity calls. Chris didn't wait. Why should you? Reach for more with Revenued and get the funding you need today. Apply online in minutes, get funded fast, and give your idea the green light. Just click the link in the description to get started. So what's going on here? This looks just like a bunch of junk wood. Not much of a business to me.
Right now, this isn't much of a business. We're in the off season. This is our firewood business, and these giant logs you see here are seasoning for the upcoming winter season. You really don't want to sell firewood when it's green, so we're just letting it naturally dry out.
Can you talk about the business a little bit? How it started, numbers, how you put it together?
Yeah, this business started, I was on a camp out for church and some high schoolers were saying, Chris, like, what business should we start? And for some reason, firewood came up. And I said, let's start a firewood business. I'll buy a splitter. You can use my property. You can source the wood from my tree trimming company. Then I'll help you sell it. We'll post it to Facebook Marketplace.
What do the numbers look like as of today? And how long has it been in operation?
It's been in operation for 6 months. It's a very, very small business. We sold a few $1,000s worth of firewood over the course of a month or so. It's almost 100% profit. Your only cost is your time, and the splitter was $1,500, and you can rent out the splitter for $70 a day as well if you want.
And the ultimate purpose is basically helping these high schoolers get to where they're heading in life.
This is going to be a business that lives on for decades. So as these high schoolers graduate in a couple days, they're going to be replaced by other high schoolers, and they're going to keep the business running here on my property, and it'll be a good way for them to earn some money and learn entrepreneurship.
It's amazing because what you're doing, from one perspective, could seem to somebody like you're just distracted and doing a whole bunch of other things. Little money here, little money there. But you mentioned that entrepreneurship is like a big playground, and you're just having fun in it, right?
Yeah.
And you're somehow making it work to where it is focused and everything is working as it should.
I think it's more important that we follow our curiosities than just focus on one thing. There's just so many questions out there, like, what happened if I posted this on Facebook Marketplace? What happened if I tested this marketing channel with that business, or vice versa? I just can't not know the answers to those things. I'm so curious that I just have to do it right then. Accidentally, that turns into 75 businesses and a lot of stress and gray hair, but I genuinely love every step of the way.
Is there a business that you had very little hope in when you got started, but it ended up being extremely profitable? What was it? How much money did you make?
Yeah, actually, that was an interesting story. So I started buying RV and mobile home parks. We bought 18 of them across about 18 months, and it was looking really, really good. There was a lot of hope until it all kind of came crashing down due to some longer story. It all just went away, and that took me by surprise, and I felt like the last 18 months of my life and a lot of money was completely wasted. I kind of converted that experience into a chip on my shoulder. That's when I first started posting on the internet about anything related to business.
I see.
And so I made a name for myself on Twitter as the mobile home park guy. And I started posting about everything I learned about investing in mobile home parks. And then after a year, 2, 3, it was a long time, 4 or 5 years into the story now, I built hundreds of thousands of followers, and I joined a fund as a general partner to help them buy RV and mobile home parks. And now it's a very profitable part of my portfolio. But in the first little while, I thought I was dead in the water.
When you have an idea, what are some ways to validate it? Like, give us some practical steps we can take in our business today.
I need every idea to do 2 things before I really launch it. I need it to give me energy. I have to enjoy that idea, because even though I love business, I don't love every industry, every niche, right? If it doesn't give me energy, then I'm never going to push through it. The second thing I have to see is demand. I want to validate demand for that product or service before I ever spend a dime. Maybe that's posting on Facebook Marketplace, sending emails, talking to friends and family, or just scraping businesses on Google Maps to see how many competitors are there compared to a comparable city on Google Maps.
What if 7 days from now you had your own profitable home service business that only takes 2 hours a day to run? Inside Subcontracting Home Services in UpFlip Academy, Chris Koerner reveals the exact system he's used to build 75 plus businesses with low overhead and total flexibility. You'll learn how to pick profitable niches, set up your business in just a week, and start getting leads without paying for ads. Instead of doing manual labor, you'll be closing jobs and dispatching subcontractors who handle the work for you. So if you're ready to launch a business on your terms using a proven model, scan the QR code or click the link now. What's the most interesting way that you've validated an idea?
So I had this iPhone screen remanufacturing business, but I had no idea if there was any demand for people to sell me their iPhone screens so I could send them to China. And so I scraped every single iPhone repair shop in America with some software. There were 20,000 of them. I put them all in a spreadsheet. This was before I launched. And then I hired 3 virtual assistants to cold call every single one of them and ask, can we buy your screens? I didn't want to do it myself. I was just lazy. I didn't want to. And so I uploaded all 20,000 of these to a CRM, and they got on the phones, and their pitch was, hey, do you have any broken iPhone screens? Yes. We'll pay $3 a piece for them. Why? Because we can get them remanufactured. Okay, what do I need to do? We'll send you a prepaid shipping label, and once we get them in the mail, we'll send you a check.
Wow.
So I did that before ever launching the business, and 40% of people said yes.
Wow.
It was an amazing success.
And that would have determined either you pursue it further or kill the deal, focus on something else.
Exactly.
All right, well, it's really cool that you're doing all these kinds of things. I know we're going to go check out a tree trimming service. That's one of your other businesses, and go look at National Job Site, yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. All right, so we're here at the tree trimming business. Tell our audience a little bit about the job site. What's the ticket cost, margins, how many people are going to be working here, things like that.
Yeah, so we're here in South Lake, Texas, DFW suburbs, and we've got a really mature oak tree that's about 15 years old.
Yeah, it's coming down.
The owner said it's been leaning for years, but we recently had a windstorm that kind of pulled the roots up out of the ground.
Yep.
And so he called us and said, hey, it's about time we get this out of here. So we're gonna be charging $2,800 to cut this down and then grind the stump when it's all done.
Not bad. What about profit margins? How many guys doing this job typically?
Yeah, this is gonna be about a 50% gross margin. So we'll still have to kind of take our overhead out of that, but our overhead's very low because we don't have a shop, a central facility. We subcontract out everything to crews. Our net margin will probably be around 40%.
And ideally, how fast do you want to wrap this up?
4 hours would be good, and it's a 3-man crew today.
How much does this business bring in overall?
Between 20 and 40,000 a month. We have months that are better than that if there's a storm, and we have months that are worse than that during the winter. It is a fairly seasonal business, but we do low to mid 6 figures every year.
Gotcha. So you offset it by, is it the firewood that you're taking from some of these job sites, accumulating over time, and then it keeps you busy in those slower seasons?
Yeah, firewood's a good business because it's 100% gross margin. In fact, oftentimes it can be over 100% gross margin because other tree trimming companies will pay us to take the wood away because they're paying the dump to dump it. So it saves them the trip.
How did you get in this business in the first place? Was it an immediate success? Talk to us about the first customer, etc.
So 6 years ago, I was building a software product with a business partner, and his brother had just started a tree trimming business, and he needed help marketing. And so me and my friend, his brother, started finding leads for him just as a favor, and because it's fun. We like marketing. And we were finding him $2,000 to $5,000 leads every week, every couple days. And meanwhile, we were building the software business, and it was just not going well. We didn't have any customers. We were building out this code. And so this juxtaposition of these two businesses, we were like, what are we doing? Like, should we just go start a tree business? Well, no, we don't want to compete against your brother, but it just kind of planted a seed of, I need to start a tree business one day. And so at the time, I bought the domain name fasttreecare.com because I'm like, $10, that's a good domain name. If I ever start a tree business, I'm going to call it that. So about 4 years after we helped that guy start his tree business, I was posting business content on Twitter. And one day I woke up and I'm like, what do I post today? I didn't know. And I thought, let's post about how to start a tree trimming business. And so the post was like, if I had to make 6 figures in 2023, I would start a tree business. Here's exactly how I do it. So I posted it, it went viral. And then I thought, man, there's something to this. Maybe I should actually do this. And I had some time at the moment. So I partnered up with James, and we started Fast Tree Care based on that tweet.
And was it success right away, essentially?
It was, yeah. I really just went back to the playbook I had used 4 or 5 years prior, and we started partnering with real estate agents. And that's the key, is to not go directly through the homeowners, but go through the referral sources that touch multiple homeowners on a daily basis.
Gotcha. Tell me about your first customer.
It was a woman in Allen, Texas, and she was about to sell her house. And we happened to reach out to the real estate agent that just got the listing. It was kind of right place, right time. And it's an interesting time when someone's just bought a house or they're about to sell because they're in the mood of spending money, or they're about to receive a lot of money because almost all the homes around here have good equity. And so I think it was a $1,600 or $1,700 job. And we did this beforehand, but we went out and found a good crew because our whole thesis is we don't want to own chainsaws. We don't want to be in the operations business. We want to be in the marketing business. And so the crew came and spent about 2 hours, and we made $800 profit.
All right, I hear the crew pulling up. So what do we got as far as equipment today showing up?
We've got a 60-foot boom truck.
Whoa, okay.
Which is, this is about as big of a job as we normally get. Sometimes we'll do a lot of trees this size, but this is about as big as a tree as we normally handle.
Okay,
So
well, let's go say hi and check it out.
sounds good.
How do you go about starting businesses in industries you're totally unfamiliar with, right? So talk to us about, like, how do you learn the way you provide customer service in a new industry, things like that.
I honestly think that's kind of a superpower. If you don't know anything about the industry, if I would have did a bunch of market research about the tree trimming industry, I just know what I would have heard. If I would have talked to business owners, oh, it's oversaturated, insurance costs are too high, it's too hard, everyone's doing it, there's no barrier to entry. I think it's a superpower to kind of be ignorant, because then you can form your own fresh opinions, and it's kind of a hard way of learning, but I think it's the better way of learning.
What helps you when it comes to learning?
It depends on the industry, but for this industry, we just subcontract everything out. So we rely on other experts and we work that into our margins. So If we have more eyeballs on our product, the Economics 101 says we can charge more. So if we're confident in our ability to market, that's going to be true for tree trimming, software, anything, right? So if I can get more eyeballs on fast tree care, then I can charge more. And if I can charge more, then I don't need to spend 6 months learning how to cut down a tree or how to thin the canopy. I just need to learn enough to speak the language. I need to learn the lingo, and I use YouTube, Reddit, message boards for all that. And that gets me caught up well enough to where I can know if a sub knows what he's talking about and use an expert to do the work for me.
Now, you're not in the trenches for this business. You're kind of co-founder part, you do the marketing side, right? So who's doing the customer service, the client, customer interaction? How do you ensure that that's the same across the board, right?
Yeah, that's James, my operating partner, does all of that. And we've never had less than a 5-star review. So,
amazing. Give our audience practical advice on getting their first 100 customers and what strategies have just been successful over and over and over again.
Yeah, so before you even have to think about your first customer, much less first 100, you've got to drop your pride. Like, you've got to be humble.
Drop your pride.
Drop it. If you have an ego about it, or if you're embarrassed to ask your old high school friend if you can pressure wash his driveway, then it's not that you won't be successful, but you're just going to have a harder time. Entrepreneurship is all about momentum and friction. You want to remove friction to getting your first 1 or 100 customers, and you want to keep that momentum. So if you say, all right, I'm going to learn Facebook ads, and then I'm going to get my first 100 customers through Facebook ads. Well, that's friction. You may never crack the nut on Facebook ads. Whereas if you say, I'm going to pick up my phone and call 10 people I know and say, hey, I know you have a driveway. I assume you haven't had it pressure washed in a while or have your trees trimmed in a while. Can I do that for you? I'll do it half off, or I'll do it for free, and all I ask is that you refer me to a friend. The best way to get your first customers is to go to people that you know personally, which can be intimidating, so you gotta drop the pride first.
Good advice. And then when it comes to like today, day-to-day operations, right? Not the initial days, what strategies have been successful over and over?
For scaling this business specifically, letting my talented operating partner cook, letting him do his job. And if I were to micromanage it, I would screw it up.
What's the most creative way that you've marketed a business or one of your businesses?
Creative marketing is like my bread and butter.
It's fun, isn't it?
It is. I was 23 and I just opened an iPhone repair shop, and it was not going well. We were slow. And for whatever reason, it was a late Sunday night and I was trying to think, how can I get more customers in the door? I was in a college town, and so these students would break their phones at the bar. And so I don't drink. I'd never been to a bar, but I knew that when you go to a bar, you get wristbands, right?
Huh.
And so I thought—
Not all, but yeah, okay.
Sure. I mean, I don't know, right? I assume. And so I thought, can I put my ad on the wristband? So I started Googling around and I found these Tyvek disposable wristbands that you get at bars. And I put an ad on there that said, phone restore, 20% off iPhone repairs, with the address and the phone number. And then I went to the bars and I just handed them out for free. And I said, you're already giving out wristbands. Now just give out mine. You don't have to buy them anymore. And sure enough, the next day, students would walk in with their broken iPhone and the nasty wristband.
It worked.
They would get drunk, they break their phone, they wake up, look at their broken phone with the wristband, and it was just right there, and they would come in.
Is that the funnest one, or any more you want to share with us?
There was another one where I had a friend that owned a local bread business, and he sold bag bread in about 200 grocery stores across DFW, and he didn't sell online. And his bread was so fresh, it only lasted for about a week. So he couldn't freeze it, he couldn't distribute it outside of DFW. And I went to him one day and I said, Keith, you need to sell your bread online, because people visit friends and family, they fall in love with your bread, they move away and they can't get it. And he's like, oh, I don't know. And I said, all right, I want to try something. This is just an experiment. I'm gonna get some flyers printed that advertise your bread being sold online. And then I'm gonna train your staff how to insert these flyers into every loaf of bread. And then let's use your bread as an advertisement to everyone that buys in store. They could pull out the advertisement and see that you sell online and buy from you online. Because he was selling about 10,000 loaves a week. So I thought, man, if 1% of those people buy bread from you every week, that could be a legitimate profit stream for you, especially because there was no middleman. He could sell direct to the customer. And so we did that and it worked great. And luckily it was right before COVID, and his sales boomed during COVID because they could buy online.
What does that say to our viewers, business owners, when it comes to marketing, the creative, fun stuff? Like, how important is it?
Oh, yeah, it's everything. Like,
Have fun with it.
Constraints equal creativity. And so if you're broke,
very well,
if you have few skills, that's okay. That's more opportunity to get creative. And a lot of times when a big wire comes into your bank account from a venture capitalist, whatever, you don't have to think, you don't have to be creative, and that's when you make bad decisions.
What pushed you to start sharing your story, your ideas online? Like, what's in it for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, selfishly, nothing feels better than when I give a business idea to someone and they actually do something about it. They go out and launch a business. And I can do that at scale on the internet. I can post about a business idea and then hear back 6 months later that someone started it and they're feeding their family with it. I have more ideas than I have time or money or resources. So I can hoard them like Scrooge McDuck, or I can share them with the world and other people can go start business.
Do you have any specific stories as far as the initial days of sharing your story, ideas, maybe the perfume?
I was just swiping on Instagram one day and I saw this perfume vending machine and I thought, that's a really interesting business. And it wasn't in America yet. And I thought, man, like you could put this so many places and that could be really profitable. And so I just like impromptu, just took a video about why I thought it was cool, not knowing anything about the manufacturer, the industry, posted it, and it got over 20 million views.
Whoa, and what happened next?
Well, I reached out to the manufacturer and said, hey, do you want these leads? Like everyone's asking, where can I buy this? And they weren't super interested, you know, who am I, whatever. So I thought, okay. So I launched a website and with a lead magnet and I started sending everyone, I edited my reel to send people to a website. And people would go there and say, I want X machines, this is my name, number, and email. And I got over 4,000 leads of people that wanted—
ready to buy.
Yeah, these vending machines. And then at that point, the manufacturer was like, let's talk. Because it's different, there's a difference between, oh, you posted a TikTok video, how cute, versus you have 4,000 leads of interested buyers, let's talk.
So that turned into an actual
That turned into a business. Yeah, to today. We partnered with this manufacturer and we help them sell vending machines across the world.
Having grown to millions of views on multiple platforms, what's your take or what's your advice to viewers when it comes to building social media, whether it's a business or personal brand?
Yeah, so I've got an answer they'll like and an answer they won't like.
Perfect.
All right? Here's the easy answer, the shortcut. Just chase the trends, train your algorithm, let's say it's Instagram, to show you the type of content that you want to post. Bookmark, engage with the things that you want to post about, learn, and just start copying what you see, copying what works. That's kind of the easier way, the shortcut, but I firmly believe the harder way is almost always the better way. The harder way is to go out and like forget about social media for a couple of years and just go do cool things. Go do amazing, crazy things worth talking about. Maybe it's quitting your job to sail across the ocean. Maybe it's starting a tree trimming business with no knowledge of the tree trimming business, and then just post about what you're doing in real time, because people, they don't just want to hear from millionaires. They want to hear people that are in the middle of their story.
Yeah.
And so document your journey and post it on the internet.
Tell us about a business that didn't do so well, and what did you learn from it? What would you do differently with everything that you know now?
Where do I begin?
Yeah.
I have a lot of failures. We bought a Bitcoin mining facility 3.5, 4 years ago, right as the price of Bitcoin was peaking. And on paper at the time, it was perfect timing. There was way more demand for people to mine Bitcoin than there was supply of Bitcoin mining facilities. And for the first 3 months, it was a runaway success. We did 9.8 million in sales and 1.1 million in profit in the first 3 months. I felt like the king of the world, like a genius. And then the price of Bitcoin started dropping, and the next 3 years was just a nightmare. We were swimming upstream trying to fight against the market.
Yeah.
And so what I learned from that was, don't launch in a business where you're not in control. That's driven by the market, right? There was just nothing I could do to turn it around. It's still around, but it's still struggling. And so I want to be on a tidal wave, like AI, right? I don't want to have a harder time being successful at a business.
All right, well, let's go back to the house and wrap things up. Pretty cool room. How do you utilize this space here? Obviously a library.
Yeah, my kids are big readers, and so we just want a place kind of set apart for them to read.
Did you always expect to be where you are today?
Not even close. No, I didn't grow up ambitious. I served a 2-year mission for my church and knocked doors for 2 years straight. I got rejected like 40,000 times to my face. And I think that changed me. That made me resilient and confident. So I came home from my mission with just all this confidence that I never knew existed.
Do you think anybody can become rich? Give us a blueprint. What's your take on that?
I think anyone can. I think some people have a much harder go of it just because of the situation that they're born into by no fault of their own. Education is everything, and education is accessible to everyone nowadays. If you want to become rich, you want to be successful, you got to hop on YouTube and start learning from people that have lives that you think that you want. And if you are born in a less than ideal situation, you have to let that drive you, like use that as an advantage. Let that be a chip on your shoulder to propel you forward.
What do you say to those people that have, watched your channel, continue to watch ours, and at that point it's just that, watching, right? They're not taking action. How do we give that nudge and say, listen, you can do it, get out there?
Yeah. At some point, you're gonna watch or learn something that just lights a fire in you, makes you feel excited. At that point, you've got to close the computer, right? And you got to go take action somehow, some way. Have a conversation, buy a domain name, post something to Facebook Marketplace, start knocking doors, move the ball forward because, what does the law of thermodynamics say? Objects in motion stay in motion, objects at rest stay at rest. So you've got to start putting some momentum towards that fire that you feel.
You've talked about being an ADHD entrepreneur. How does that make you different?
I think it enables me to see opportunities everywhere. There's a lot to be said for going all in on one business. I think when you do that, you're going to see all kinds of important things in that business that you could optimize. But when you're not all in on one business, you're seeing opportunities everywhere that you could optimize. For instance, 2016, I was distracted, as I always am. I was running the business, the LCD cycle business, and I learned about Bitcoin. And so my attention turned to Bitcoin, and I bought a lot of Bitcoin. And then I did a lot in that space, and that was very profitable for me. Whereas if I would have only been focused in on that business, then there's an opportunity cost of missing out on things outside of the business as well.
What about the flip side that people say, look, you got to be focused on one thing, not be, jack of all trades, no trades at all, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
I think the important thing is that you're just looking for opportunities to optimize and grow. Whether that's the one business you're working on or the 5 businesses that you want to have at the same time. You don't want to have your blinders on whether you're focused on one business or not. I think that net of net, the best way to build wealth is to go all in on one thing for a long period of time. But to me, that's not as enjoyable. And I think that I'm going to still do really well and have a lot more fun in the process if I do a bunch of things at the same time.
What does a day in your life look like? How are you managing all these businesses? Give us what makes it work.
Yeah, I wake up at 6:30. I don't work out. I don't have any fancy morning routine, no cold plunge. Help get my kids ready for school. Usually my wife takes them to school. Sometimes I do. I just shower and go in my office and get straight to work. I enjoy working. And so it's not hard for me to start working. And then my calendar is pretty regimented. I prefer days with nothing on the calendar, but I'll try to batch all of my activities. So if I'm doing something with this business, and this business, I'll put them all together on the same day. And then I'll leave other days completely open for more creative work.
Okay. What else does it boil down to? Can you think of anything?
I firmly believe in what's called Parkinson's Law. Have you ever heard the phrase, if you need something done, give it to a busy person?
Not until today.
Yeah. So that's Parkinson's Law. Parkinson's Law states that work expands or contracts to fill the time or space allotted to it. If I'm in high school and I have a report due the next day, I forget about it, it's due the next day, I'm going to get it done. You have to, right? If it's due in 3 months, I'm probably going to get it done just as well, if not worse, maybe the night before. And so I take that to mean if I take on all of these different businesses and opportunities, if I say yes to everything and certain things fall by the wayside, then that's a signal to me it was supposed to fall by the wayside. It wasn't important enough to command my attention. And so what that means is at the end of a few years, I'm working on a handful of things that are really important that kept commanding my attention and forcing me to find creative ways to generate the bandwidth to take care of all those things.
Where are you investing your money today?
So most of my investment dollars go into everything I'm building. More specifically, I invest a lot of money into RV parks right now. Millennials are traveling more than ever. Baby boomers are retiring more than ever. Both of those generations are big on RVing. And furthermore, it's the most affordable form of housing. So most of our parks are actually long-term RV parks where people, blue-collar workers or fixed income earners will live there for years at a time.
Interesting. For some reason, for a second, I thought mobile home parks, but that's a whole different thing.
Both. I'm investing in both,
okay.
But most of my parks are RV parks.
So it's basically land with all the hookups, all the amenities, experiences.
Yeah.
You get there with your house.
Because if the economy is strong, then you have more short-term stays, more travelers. But if the economy crashes, then you have people living there. So it's really a hedge against any economy.
What are the best businesses to start today?
So I have like a barbell theory. On one hand of the barbell, I like businesses that have low tech or no tech, or they don't need any tech. You could add AI or software, but it's a sweaty startup, a home service business. I love any service business, especially in the home service space, especially high ticket home services like this. And on the other end of the barbell, you've got AI heavy, software heavy, agency businesses, marketing agencies, stuff that doesn't need a lot of skill, but that can leverage AI or leverage marketing platforms.
Can you give us a specific business idea to share or something you're thinking of?
One thing that I love and that I think will be good for the next 10 years is building free websites for sweaty startup business owners that already have a website. I think that's important. completely for free, no questions asked, just to get your foot in the door and start a relationship with them and kind of build yourself as an authority in the business owner's eyes, as a guy who knows that internet stuff, the tech stuff, the marketing stuff. And then you pitch them on higher ticket services, Facebook ads for $1,000 a month or Google ads for $2,000 a month. I really like that angle.
Looking back on your journey, what's been the biggest regret that you can think of?
I like to have a bias for action when I start businesses, right? I like to move fast and break things, but sometimes you break the wrong things that are hard to fix. A few of the biggest regrets I have are related to partnering with the wrong people after not really knowing them well enough. I get so enamored with the idea and excited about the idea, and sometimes I'm getting excited with someone, and we partner together just because that kind of chemistry exists right there in that moment.
Makes sense.
But I don't stop to think like, all right, who is this guy? What can he add to this business? Is he a good person? What's his background, etc.?
So to piggyback on that, Chris, what do we learn moving forward when it comes to picking the right partners and avoiding that as much as possible?
I think a lot of it comes down to how you structure the equity. I think a 50-50 partnership very rarely works. If both of you are there in person, physically, not remote, side by side, no other side projects, no other jobs that you have, it can work out really, really well. If you know the person and you trust the person. Outside of that really specific instance, I would always like to be 80-20 in either direction. I want to have a very passive role, be an advisor, answer the phone when my partner needs it and have 20%, or I want to own the vast majority of it and fully be in the driver's seat.
Give us 2 books that you think every entrepreneur should read and maybe one insight into one of them.
Okay, so one book that will help kind of rewire your brain to think like an entrepreneur is 4-Hour Workweek. It kind of teaches you that there are no rules, everything is malleable, you can create the future that you envision. I can't recommend that enough. The other book that I would recommend for once you're already running a business, you're in the early stages, is 3 Signs of a Miserable Job. It's kind of a book that people don't talk about or know about that much. It doesn't sound like an entrepreneurship book, but it is. It's a parable of how to run a business, how to motivate people, how to motivate yourself.
How important is health and exercise in the entrepreneurial journey, specifically for you? What's your routine like?
Yeah, a little bit crazy. I can be a little crazy. I spent all of my 20s 260 pounds. I was obese. And then at 31, something just switched, something broke. And I was like, this is not good. This is not okay. So I lost 60 pounds and that was 7 years ago and I've kept it off ever since. I'm very much an all or nothing person. I don't do moderation in all things. And I tried for years to be more moderate in all things, but now I make my life fit the all or nothing. And so I won't work out at all Monday through Friday, and then I'll go run 20, 30 miles on Saturday.
Wow.
And I don't know if that's the most optimized, but it works for me. And I get a lot of miles in every week without having to run every single day. And I think that's kind of how humans were evolved. You know, like when we were cavemen out on the plains, we would catch something, eat it, get stuffed, and then be starving for weeks. And I think our bodies are kind of accustomed to that.
So running so many different businesses must require some good systems in place. Otherwise, it's chaos, right? What's your advice to those currently in the middle of chaos? How would you fix that in terms of systems?
I would say keep it simple. A lot of times we think that one software tool or that one new system is going to solve all of our problems. We have to gravitate to what we like the most, to what works for us most naturally. For me, it's nothing sexy. It's Google Docs, Google Sheets, Apple Notes, my Gmail, Google Chrome. My open Chrome tabs is my to-do list. My reminders app is my to-do list. I like keeping my calendar as open as possible. And then Google Sheets for everything else. You can build a CRM in Google Sheets, anything. So don't get enamored by this shiny object or this next tool that you think can solve all your problems, because it's probably going to be harder to learn than you anticipate.
What's your approach to hiring, and what are some of the traits that you look for?
I look for traits that I have in myself. And that honestly took a while to learn. I want to hire people that have a high degree of ambiguity, that feel comfortable working in a high degree of ambiguity. I don't offer a lot of specifics. One of my weaknesses is attention to detail. And so I love to just say, hey, here's the task, run with it. Here's a couple suggestions, here's how I do it, run with it.
Very vague in a way.
Very vague. And that's not great for, I'd say, a majority of people. They want to know exactly when you need this done by, when you need that done by. I need a high agency employee.
Gotcha. So you're looking for those A players. What else? I mean, where are you finding these people? Coffee shops, other businesses, maybe they run and you approach them, they find you?
You know, there's been a lot of talk about don't hire your friends, don't hire your family, it can go south, and it can, but those are also the people that you know and trust the most, right? I've had really good experiences hiring my friends and family. I know them best, I trust them, and I don't have to worry about one bad employee early on completely wrecking my business. I really like finding people that are obsessed. Like, they have to feel passionate and strongly about something because I can channel that in the right direction.
What about when it comes to like hiring someone that's very experienced as opposed to a clean slate high school student? What have you learned there?
I have the most success hiring people with a clean slate that are young usually, or that are moldable, and I can build them into what I need to be. You'll save money that way, and you'll have more flexibility that way. There's been a few times when I've hired like industry experts, you overpay for them and it hasn't gone well. It can work. Yeah. People do it with success. It hasn't worked great for me.
How do you keep employees motivated and incentivized across your businesses?
You have to identify the rock stars early, and they will make themselves known. So you'll get the best out of your employee for the first 2 weeks. So if you're starting to see some red flags the first 2 weeks, it will only get worse.
That's all it takes, huh? 14 days.
In my experience. So if you have a rock star, you've got to get ahead of the incentives, of the promotions. If you wait for them to come to you and say, hey, I've been working really hard, you've kind of waited too long. Like, they're kind of checked out in their head. So you got to get ahead of that and bonus and incentivize them before you think you even need to.
What are some practical ways that you incentivize? Give us an example.
I like incentivizing employees in ways that are more valuable than just a cash bonus. So let's say that I think an employee is worth $100 extra a month. Let's just keep it easy.
Yep.
If I were to pay for their YouTube Premium, Netflix, Hulu subscriptions for them, that might cost me $50 to $80 a month. But to them, it's probably worth, from a mental standpoint, $150 to $200 a month, because it's just like, that's nice, like that's a perk, right? So there's often ways to incentivize and bonus employees in ways that are even more valuable than the cash value of them.
I can see that, yeah.
At the end of the day, a lot of times, people just want cash. So it depends on the employee as well.
Okay. What's the most stressful time that you've been through? Can you share us the experience?
Oh man, it was one random Wednesday morning at a Starbucks, sitting down with two of my business partners having a hard conversation. And I was pushed out of the business, completely unexpectedly, totally blindsided. And it was a big business and it was about to be a lot bigger. And how I handle that, I go to God and I go to my wife. And she's incredibly supportive. She's never, ever once doubted me, not even once. And I know that she can be a sounding board in times like those. And of course, I go to prayer. I rely on my higher power to give me peace and comfort through those times.
What did you learn through the whole pushing you out process? Maybe you overlooked something, didn't see it coming. Any lessons that we can take away from that to maybe see it coming, avoid it?
Yeah.
Bring it up earlier?
I ignored red flags in my partners, and I shouldn't have. You know, a lot of times when things are going really well, you ignore the few red flags that may be worrisome. I shouldn't have done that. I should have done more due diligence on the opportunity and on the partnership to begin with.
If you could go back to your 13-year-old self, what would you tell yourself?
I would probably tell him that things are never as bad or as good as you think they are in the moment. So if you get a big sale or you sell a business and you just feel like you can't lose, you're on top of the world, just watch out. Watch out. Conversely, if something terrible happens, your business fails or relationship fails and it couldn't get any worse, it could. Like, it's not as bad as you think and it's not as good as you think.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Have you ever heard of the analogy of the rocks in the jar? If you got a bunch of rocks, some big, medium, small, how do you put them all in a jar? You put the biggest ones first, then the medium ones, and then the small ones. Like the sand will all work its way in. When it comes to business or life, you've got to put those big things first. On the surface, that's kind of cliche and it's trite, but it's not. Like, you put your family first, your faith, your friends. It means not only can you fit everything else in, but you have space for so much more. Some people put their career first, and then there's no room for family or faith or friends, right? But you can still have both. You don't have to choose between a career and family. You just have to prioritize one over the other, and everything will fit if you do.
Having sold so many products, so many services over the last 15 years, what are some strategies for sales that have worked over and over and over again?
I think that pricing is the most important thing in sales. And it's just something that people overlook. They're like, my competitor's charging that, my cost is this, let's price it that. But they have no idea. Like, if they were to price it a little higher, they might be able to convert the same amount of people. If they were to price it a little lower, say 20% lower, they could convert 100% more people. So I put a lot of time and effort into getting the pricing right on the front end. And I do that by performing tests, A, B, C, D tests. So I'll take an offer and I'll put it in front of an audience at X price. I'll put the same offer in front of the similar audience at Y price, and then just see what my conversion rate is. And I will do that for a month till I really nail my final pricing.
Wow, we're talking like Facebook marketing, right? Or whatever. When you set up these ads to run, that's what
Facebook
you're
ads,
doing when you're
Google
doing
ads, landing pages, surveys on Instagram Reels, or surveys on Instagram Stories, all of those. And in general, people always compete to be the lowest price, but no one's competing to be the highest price, right? And so I tend to price my products or services at a premium level because there's less competition there.
Mm-hmm. What's one last piece of advice you'd like to leave with our viewers?
Oh, man.
I know.
The best thing I can say to do is to be impatient with the small things and patient with the big things. So if you have an idea about a business or about a marketing strategy, don't sit around and think about it and ask your friends and do some research. Just go do it. Execute on the thing right then, and then be patient with the big things. When is this thing going to turn a profit? I'm just going to try something else. If it's working and you see traction, just stick it out. Be patient with those big, important things.
That's wonderful. And if you want to learn more from serial entrepreneurs like Chris, check out episode 205, Absolutely Epic, with Brandon, who's going to show you how to find vending routes, laundromats, car washes, and start those businesses with almost zero money. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.